Call the Pena County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Could we start by calling our roll call, please?
Commissioner LaHaye,
Here.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Here.
Commissioner Bray, here, Commissioner Peterson,
Here.
Commissioner Fournier,
Here.
Commissioner Britton,
Here.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Here. Okay, those. We normally do the prayer before we do the pledge. Yeah, we'll start with the prayer by Pastor Erickson.
Again, I always say this, it's a privilege for us as pastors to be invited to your meeting and to begin a meeting with prayer, talking to the Lord. It's the right place to start.
Yes.
Heavenly Father, we seek to begin this meeting by asking your presence over all that is accomplished. Only through you and only with you can we truly do that which is pleasing in your sight. You've called members of this board to various positions of authority, responsibility among us in this Alpena area and community. May they be guided by your spirit, noble in purpose, determined in seeking good resolution to issues that confront them, and unwavering in duty. Having remembered yesterday the many who laid down their very lives for the sake of us all, we are humbled by the courage and the selfless nature of their tremendous sacrifice. Continue to remind their families that this present life is not all there is. We know that because Jesus lives, we shall live also in his presence. Your word tells us that where you are, there we shall live also. Keep us from being caught up in the meaningless treasures of this fleeting world that it peddles and adores. Instead, may we seek those treasures that you so deeply want us to receive from you. Peace in our hearts, opportunities to serve, and the peace that flows from the sure and certain promise of everlasting life. It has always been your will, O God, that we live our lives according to your gracious will in peace and harmony. Teach us to examine our hearts each day that we might recognize the selfish inclinations toward bitterness and indifference toward others. By your precious word and powerful spirit, root out the evil that easily leads to strife, so that we might live at peace with you and with love in our hearts toward our neighbor. Fill us with a zeal and a desire to work for the good of this community, that it truly may continue to flourish. Oh God, bless all those who serve us so faithfully in this room as commissioners. Bless all who have dedicated their lives to the service of others, as you have so wonderfully and sacrificially served us. This we ask in the name of our crucified and risen Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Jim.
Next, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
So we have the agenda in front of us. Everyone had a chance to review the agenda. I look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to
Is that
something on off the agenda.
Well, that'll be consent calendar, right? Okay. Okay. Do you still want to make a motion to? You can.
No, I'm good.
No, I mean, I still need a motion.
For the Jim. I'll
We have a
second.
motion by Commissioner LaHaye, second by Commissioner Peterson. Any questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, next item is the public comment. So if we have anybody in the public that would like to come up to the podium and speak, now's your chance. No one? Anyone online? They will close public comment. Next item is the bills to pay. We all had a copy of the bills. Are there any questions?
I have a question there. On the medical report here, what is going on with the Schooner thing?
Medical report.
There's a transfer rate Schooner for $2,000. A copy here for $3,406. What's going on with that? Anybody know?
I know that was a medical examiner. That was for
Why did they call it for the autopsy? Did
there was a fire, remember the fire out
there been a fire there?
the lake?
They want,
Yep.
they want to make sure that it wasn't arson.
Well, that was for the autopsy. I don't really know. What about that? Do you know about that?
To cover each one of them.
It's under medical examiners.
Yeah, so one was the transport. And the other one was probably the autopsy. Haven't ever looked into autopsies, so I don't know how much it would cost.
I think they run a couple thousand.
30.
Yeah, there are usually in that area.
Probably testing and stuff like that. Do
I know that. How much did you say it was? For?
06 or
3,400 for autopsy, and then there's $2,000 for transport. Them up there.
Probably to transfer to Rapids, I think.
That I can look for it if you want. Move on it.
You can continue on, just on that later.
Okay. Any other questions with the bills? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve. A motion by Commissioner LaHaye. Support by Commissioner Ludlow. Any further questions? If not,
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray. Yes. Commissioner Peterson.
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier. Yes. Commissioner Britton.
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
yes.
And carried.
Okay, next item is the consent calendar. It has a copy of consent calendar. If there's anything you'd like to pull,
I'd like to pull sports and public safety,
action item.
number one.
Okay. So anything else that anybody has any questions with or would like to pull? Okay. We will pull that one item. I'd look for a motion to approve the rest of the items.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Bray, support by Commissioner Britton. Roll call?
Commissioner Ludlow.
Yes.
Commissioner Bray. Yes. Commissioner Peterson.
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier. Yes. Commissioner Britton.
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye.
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so action item, courts and public safety, action item number one was pulled, so we'll open it up for discussion.
It's more of just a statement.
Okay.
First of all, we all know that hunt is important to the county, but we all knew that when we decided to cut the fund for this year. This is how we get into financial problems we are currently in. It's called the it's only mentality. It's only this, it's only that. So it only ends up us with a budget deficit. The way I look at it as $8,000 could be used to help balance next year's budget. The board allocated the money to the individual budgets so they can run that service, not to give it to another entity. I think Hunt is a valuable asset to the county, something that we will look into at the next budget cycle, which, by the way, starts very soon. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, concerns regarding action item one?
Only thing I got to say is, I mean, and this is, it's coming out of the two budgets out of the sheriff's and prosecutor's office. I mean, it's not coming out of the general fund for that, so they're committing $4,000 each out of their budgets to continue to fund Hunt. And being as I've sat on that board for a couple of years, so we basically, stop sending people to it. And I've seen what, such great work you do there, and I'd recommend we keep on going forward with it.
Okay. So I guess I'd look for a motion then to approve, which was originally approved by Courts and Public Safety. A one-time transfer between the prosecutor's office and the sheriff's office in the amount of $4,000 to Hunt. So they each contribute 4,000.
I'll make them.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson,
I'll support that.
support by Commissioner LaHaye. Well, I was going to say, now we really should have the discussion.
Yeah.
So I will make a comment, I think, on what Commissioner Ludlow's was trying to state, which I think he did state, was that, you know, we've approved a budget for 2025. And one of the things that we did have to cut was Hunt. And I guess, and I'm maybe paraphrasing, but what you're saying is that $8,000 that is being found in the two budgets then could have possibly been money that was left over that could go towards next year's budget.
Correct.
So, okay. And I know I do have somewhat concerns because this is additional money with the prosecutor's office that the second time in, I guess, a month or so that we're taking money out of that budget to assist things. I know the other one was 8,000 for the I don't know what you call her, but okay. And then this 4,000. So anyway, but that's just my opinion. I know we all have our own opinions on that. So I guess, is there any other discussion with this?
I'm wondering, Commissioner Peterson said that there used to be members on the board
On board. So,
board?
yeah, so one of the things, again, we were part of the budget process and part of the cuts was that when we cut the funding from Hunt, there was no longer a need, I guess, to have one of the commissioners, because then we're paying, again, it's not a lot, but we're paying per diem for our commission, one of the commissioners to have to attend the meetings. So that was a discussion on where we could cut, because I know I'm on a specific board. I've been on it for 2 years, and I keep asking about getting notifications when the meetings are at, and I've never gotten one notification when the meetings are at. So I said, there's some meetings that we could probably eliminate, which we did, which again, not a huge amount, but it helps cut some funding where we were spending it. So once we cut the funding, we also cut someone from the board, because it didn't seem to make sense to send someone to a meeting that we're not really supporting, I guess.
I understand that.
So are you volunteer then if they're coming up with the funding to attend these meetings?
I would, yes.
Would you really?
I think it's a philosophical. I've heard the comment that, yes, we have Hunt, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at Hunt as law enforcement. But we need to look at before we get to where we need the help with the drug issue. And I don't know if we're doing enough of that. I mean, so I can't say totally cut out an organization that is enforcing it, because in the report, there is some enforcement, but there still is comment made, well, we still have a problem. So how do we solve that? But I would be willing to go to a meeting without per diem.
Quick question, Cindy.
You still get the meetings thing? Okay.
County commissioner sits on the advisory board, right? I know when I sat in Hunt, I was on the financial part of the committee for for Hunt?
I don't think we have those subcommittees right at this time, but obviously looking forward to help and input from those advisory board members on those particular issues is welcomed.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, I just didn't feel like a bump in a log. I was involved with it, so.
Okay. Actually, I just was looking too, and posted on True North Radio this morning was a Hunt 2024 annual report. I noticed here in the article, it says the investigations were up but the drug seizures were the lowest in the last 20 years.
Is that actual product lifted off of?
I don't know.
or-
This was just the.
I think it was product.
It could, well, I was doing some research prior to coming here and maybe for 2024, but I know there was already a lot of drugs taken off the streets in 2025. As well as some big numbers over the last couple of years. But I didn't know if that was perhaps if they're seizing vehicles or other, tangible items. I would agree that they have been focusing more on the investigations than seizing items that are usually.
This article just indicates that the amount of drugs seized was down significantly from 2023. So I'm assuming that it was for the year specifically for 2024, and that was the information that was released by Hunt.
Yes, I did bring some extra copies of that summary if those who weren't on course of public safety want another copy. I'll get those out for the end here.
Yeah.
So I do know part of the reason that they've seen a cut in what they've been able to do, and I can just speak to this from my previous work, is Lansing's made it very, very difficult to basically flip people and find informants because they've rearranged how the sentencing goes. And if somebody only has to sit in jail for 2 or 3 days, they're less likely to inform than if they have to sit there for 2 or 3 weeks. That's part of it. I guess one question I have for your office, prosecutors, as far as settlements come out of your office, when individuals come through and are found selling or whatnot, is there a high rate of settlements, or are they actually like prosecuted to the full extreme where they have to serve time? I guess, what's that look like?
So a lot of the individuals that we're coming across now have lengthier criminal histories. So they are maxing out on what we call our guideline scores. So they're looking at anywhere between 5 and 6 years on the minimum. So we always strive for at least the minimum in those particular cases. We're having very few deals made. Can't even think of one this year, but one person involved after getting a case before me, gets a deal because they're going to testify against somebody else. Thankfully, I believe that our community is very well educated with our drug problem, and that leads to very good juries in these circumstances. So we know that. I think defendants know that. And so I think that helps to settle cases, but not sacrificing the particular time.
In follow-up, you say you strive for the minimum. Can you be striving for the maximum, which would increase the likelihood of them wanting to flip?
Here's the thing, I know that at least Judge Curtis recently returned from a judges conference. And so a lot of these cases have like a 20-year maximum. Well, the Court of Appeals has already said that you're not allowed to sentence anybody to more than 2/3 of the maximum, because that just wouldn't be fair, according to them. And so now we have those guidelines where sometimes they range from 72 months to 120 months in the guideline range. And those guideline scores are what the judges are supposed to narrow their focus in on, so that way sentencing across the state is somewhat leveled out. Before the guideline manual was imposed by the legislature, judges from all over the state could pick whatever sentence they want in different counties. And so individuals could pick and choose where they do their activities, their criminal activities, in counties that had judges that didn't impose quite so much, which makes sense, right? But now the judges have to look at certain scorings throughout someone's prior criminal history, as well as the action that's going on right now. And then there's literally a mathematical equation that tells us on a grid what those sentencing guidelines are going to be. With methamphetamine, specifically with the delivery or possession with intent to deliver methamphetamine, those guideline scores, if you have several prior high severity felonies on your record, they start at that 6-year mark. They can go up to 120 months or 240 months, things like that. So As of late, we've seen judges teetered towards the bottom, if not the bottom half, is what we can really get excited for. However, now, I said Judge Curtis shared with us, he came back from a judicial conference a couple weeks ago. They indicated that they now want judges to even justify and state their reasoning on the record why they're going to the high end of the guidelines. So it's making their jobs more difficult to even be able to sentence within the restrictions of the guidelines that the legislature has imposed on them. So we play in the realm that we think we can get in reasonably. Just spinning off of your point earlier, Mr. Asmer, with the sentences getting a little bit lighter. The other issue with finding confidential informants is that bonds, people who are presumed to be indigent or have no income that's on paper, they get out on PR bonds right away. So they're not staying the 2-3 weeks or months in jail necessarily until their court cases, well underway. But they're getting out right away. And so back out on the streets, not only dealing drugs, but knowing who their confidential informant just was. And so that strongly deters anyone from wanting to flip. There are budget issues across the 4 counties that Hunt represents and works very carefully with. And that has led to a deterioration of law enforcement participation on the team. Much like with Alpena County, we don't have the personnel right now to put a person on the Hunt team. And for the longest time, the city has been struggling. I think they're going to hopefully shortly. Rogers City Rogers City does not have one on the team. They can't afford it and they don't have the bodies to do it. Montmorency can't afford it. Kona hasn't been able to afford it for a long time. So with those dwindling bodies on the team itself, of course, that's going to lead to, unfortunately, less and less numbers. But I can tell you that there's several cases just recently where they were buying up to an ounce of methamphetamine from a particular individual here in town, and that was just one client. So we know that that defendant has many clients here in town. We're currently fighting an appeal from a couple of years ago where the individual had 175 grams of cocaine when he was pulled over, and that was due to investigation that Hunt was conducting on their days off. He's currently serving, I think it's over 13 years in the prison system for that. And Hunt also goes into, and I won't go too much further here because I could talk forever, but Hunt, if they find and if they are successful in an investigation on drugs, they normally have enough probable cause to do a search warrant on the individual's phone. And a couple of years ago, Detective Oliver with the Hunt team was able to get such a search on a phone where he not only found child sexually abusive material, but also correspondence and threats in which he was actively threatening other people that if they did not produce this child sexually abusive material, that he would harm them and harm their family members. Well, the U.S. Attorney General's office the United States Attorney's office, it was very interested in that particular case and took over that portion. So while we were doing the drug portion of that particular case and we got him sentenced to 6 to 20 years here in Alpena, the U.S. Attorney's office just let us know last month that he will be going away to federal prison for 17.5 years. After that investigation was kicked off by our own local team. And hopefully he has no more girlfriends who he's threatening to harm them or their children if they did not produce this child sexually abuse material and send him the videos on his phone. So it's such a widespread arena that they are helping out in. I very much appreciate the consideration. And I don't know if it was stated, but the previous $8,000 mentioned by yourself, Commissioner Kozlowski, as well as the $4,000 that we're hoping to put towards this cause was all due to a personnel change in my particular office. So it wasn't anything that I over budgeted. It is just a change in personnel, which left that spot vacant for a couple of months and allowed us to have that particular excess money this year.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I guess look for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
No.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next item, we have county administrator with budget adjustments.
Commissioner, so two out of the four adjustments are simply to ensure compliance with your own policies. Fund 677 and Fund 402 by your own policy passed for budget FY 25 states that both of those funds are to be kept at 100,000 minimum. This just ensures that we're going to be able to keep within those guidelines. The other two are discretionary and it's completely up to this board. That's for an increase to line items 1013017020002, which is deputy payroll, and 1013517020008, which is the correction officer's payroll. As you remember, when we budgeted for FY 25, the sheriff's department took a hit of $215,000. To date, this board has backfilled that in using funds that have come in higher than expected through various means, different taxes or whatnot. And we've closed that gap up by 115,000 to date. Doing this transfer today would close it up for a shortfall of only $50,000. And I'm sure the sheriff will work hard to try finding the funds to backfill that. This new line item that we're going to be creating is at the advisement of our auditor. This would be line item 101000690.000 titled the budgeted use of funds balance. What this references is the unrestricted fund balance. So it's just a placeholder so that we can show that we're taking money from that area and putting it back into the budget in other areas.
What'd you call it?
It's going to be titled the budgeted use of funds balance.
Budgeted use?
Of funds balance. Yep. And that's the advisement of the auditor. Other counties use the same line item at the same number. One item to keep in mind is that we have to keep above 25%. We have to keep the unrestricted fund balance at 25% before layoffs occur. Currently, it's sitting at 33.1%. With this transfer, you'll be at 31.6%, far above the threshold. So it helps the balance, it helps enforce policy compliance, and it helps our sheriff's department backfill a little bit more of that amount that we're shortfalling for FY 25.
Okay. So I'd look for a motion to approve the budgeted budget transfers.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
Support.
And we have support. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow.
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item, you have an urgent need program grant.
We were coming to a close on the debris collection site. The Urgent Needs Fund by the Community Foundation Northeast Michigan granted us earlier this year $5,000 to run that site. When we announced its closure, I actually got a call from its director stating that other counties had actually reached out to him recently wanting to know more about what we've been doing so they could mimic it. He wanted to know if we've seen a decrease in people utilizing it. We have not. We're simply running out of funds. After a conversation and a second application, they have granted us a second round of $5,000 with the understanding that what we would do is hire 2 part-time people to run it for a couple of hours, 2 days a week. We're thinking just some high schoolers through summer. It would begin in early June and end August 31st. We'd be open 19 days throughout all of summer from anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, depending on the day. And that will also cover having grounds maintenance go once a week to actually do the breakdown. So these kids will only be, people will pull up, they'll unlock the gate, welcome people, make sure that they're recording where the debris is coming from, which is a requirement. And then they'll help unload the brushing material. They will not be working any of the machinery. That'll be for the grounds maintenance. They'll go out once a week, use the log splitter, use the chippers and whatnot, get everything broken down. So these funds not only would cover the payroll for these 2 part-time students, I guess, for the duration of summer, but also cover the overtime for grounds maintenance to do the breakdown. So just looking for approval to accept those funds and to distribute them accordingly.
So did we already get approval from that grant, for that grant? Okay.
So they're just waiting for me to turn the paperwork, which I've had the grant review committee sign. Once we get that in, they'll release the funds and we can get started.
Okay. So you're looking for a motion then to approve receiving the funds?
I would look for a motion to receive the funds and execute the plan as presented.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Fournier,
Support.
support by Commissioner Britton. Any further discussion?
I should mention it's a zero match, so it's no cost to the county.
Okay. And you said, did you say 2 days a week?
It'd be, yeah, roughly 2 days a week. I have the schedule here, so it'd be Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and there's different combinations of days and times during that week. So that we're ensuring that we can hit people who might work nights.
I'm just gonna say, because I know I've had people complain they can't drop it off because they work.
Right.
So we just need to make sure that,
Yeah, I mean, we had, even with the last round, again, a different mixture of days and times. In fact, I think we even did weekdays on some of those. So
okay.
we can't win them all, we're trying.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, can you do a roll call on that?
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Next item we have is the reports and special ad hoc committees. Travis is not here. I don't know if there was any updates. Again, did we have, that wasn't part of the consent calendar, was it?
Yep.
Was it?
Facilities was.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just move on. Bill, airport?
We had a meeting last week and the appointments for last month were down a little bit because of the ice storm. And they're on record to come up now. They're having good flights out of there. They're gonna call and see if they get another flight to come in during the day at a different time. Because it's hard for people to make connections from here to Detroit at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Talked about some of the runway lights weren't put in right. They're gonna have to change that and trying to figure out whose fault that was, whether it was the engineer or the contractor. And it's gonna be a significant project. It's several $1,000s. And also they're having some damage on the runway and they're trying to work that out, and figure out what's going on with that. So other than that, everything is going good.
Okay, thank you. Courts and public safety.
We already covered in the consent calendar, mine.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm good.
You didn't want to add anything?
No,
Okay. Personnel.
nothing to report.
Okay. All right. That's it for our updates. We have 2 poll actions that we did. First one is a poll vote for using the county ambulance, repurposing the county ambulance at the sheriff's department for community outreach, which will be probably discussed at a future date, the actual presentation. We got big plans, don't we, Eric?
We do.
But anyway, so we have that poll vote. This is more informational. Did everyone get to vote on that one?
Yes, I did.
6. Who didn't vote?
I didn't vote.
Did you want to vote?
I did vote, but I don't think she caught it.
Oh,
I'm voting yes anyways.
okay.
Yeah, and mine was late also, but
You're on there.
You're on there.
okay.
Okay. So again, it was more informational. We don't have to really do anything with that one. Second item was a recommendation to move forward with the projects on the list provided by the Facilities Committee by the Fair Board at no cost to the county, ensuring that all projects are up to code and that the Fair Board works with the Fairgrounds manager when scheduling these projects as presented. Again, we got 1, 2, 3.
Commissioner Britton did reply late, so I think we're only missing Commissioner LaHaye, I believe, on that
Why
one.
don't we, so on this one, even though I'll just ask for, instead of doing a poll vote, because we're all here now, all those in favor, well, let me ask, does anybody have any questions regarding that? So
Are those, are those having horse races there?
that's what they said. Did you have anything, Courtney?
I can talk about it if.
Oh, no, that's, I just saw that. I didn't realize they had horse races.
Okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Bringing the buggies back.
Yeah.
Yes, so to answer your question, we are having harness racing come back to the fair this year. So there is a few preparations that need to be done to the track, which are some of the things that we listed in the email to Jesse. That includes some things with the track. And then I know there were some questions about putting cement in the sheep and goat barn and about drains. So we did look into that and there is no code stating that there has to be drains in there. We are working with a licensed contractor to get that done. So it's nothing that we're doing on our own. So the slopes would be done correctly. The hog barn on the fairgrounds currently does not have drains and we power wash that every single year without issue. So if that's something that the county is looking to have drains, we can have that happen. But it's not a necessity.
You were on that meeting, correct?
Yeah, but I don't remember there's any discussion about the drains.
I don't either. I thought that the more of a concern was the way it slopes and the water running to that. So I don't think there's an issue with drains actually in the building, but it's more so, and I can't remember which one is which, but there's one where the water runs across and it runs, and they actually raised up by the doorway to keep the water from running through there.
Yeah, so the sheep and goat barn is the one that floods
Okay.
every year because of water issues. So that we're hoping that with the cement, it would be able to raise that up just a little bit to be able to keep the water instead of.
We had concerns with any drains. It was more how the water was draining from outside the building.
Okay.
So. Any other questions?
No, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why don't I ask, so if someone would make a motion and we'll go through the normal stuff on this one. Motion on, okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Bray. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed. Unfinished business. Don't have anything there. Correspondence, we had that. So one thing I didn't neglected to, and I guess I'll talk about it here. So we did have a public hearing for the road commission and then the expansion of the road commission prior to this meeting. We did have a couple people stand up and talk. We only had two. No one really wanted to talk. We did have, Kim, you have that letter that whatever he wrote. We'll all get that once she scans that in. And so we do have another public hearing on the road commission next month, which will be prior to the,
Well, sort of. So originally you guys had scheduled it for 4:30, which was an hour prior to your 5:30 meeting.
Yeah.
This will be incorporated so that it will begin at 5:30 and just be a part of your full board meeting.
so that way no one misses it. So,
We'll be sending that correction out this week.
and that's probably about it on that. Okay. Moving on, it's back to you, Jesse.
I had an email from the planning commission wanting to know if the board needed to take any action on the appointment of Superintendent David Rabideau to their commission. You don't, because it's basically up to the school district to do. I said all we would need is some sort of letter or email stating that the appointment took place for our records and that we would make the corrections online. So just wanted to let everybody know that vacancy has been filled and who's filled it.
So that was the one that we actually had someone that filled it. We got permission from the school or superintendent. Actually, it wasn't Dave Rabideau. I think I had to get it from,
It was previous.
what's that?
I think it was approved. Well, I'm sorry. Go.
I thought we had to get approval to appoint somebody. But either way, that person obviously, because I saw that email as well, pan out or wasn't attending the meetings, so Dave stepped up. So again, there's nothing for us to do as far as our.
Informational, so that everybody's aware that that appointment has taken place.
Okay. You good? Sure. Okay, under new business, the only thing that I have for new business, and just again, for transparency, to keep everyone updated. I did receive an email from the White House, to attend a leadership conference on the 17th of June. And before I finished reading the email, I said I'd go. Because I was excited, actually. I think it's a privilege to be invited to the White House at the county level. So I did talk to Jesse, and he did say that he works some magic where it doesn't actually cost.
It won't directly impact the general fund.
It'll cost still, but he has some creative accounting. Is that what you call it?
Working with the auditor, yeah. So basically what happens is through credit card usage, the county accept points. Government gets to cover the travel to there and back. It's just a matter of how we record it, and I'm working with the auditor to make sure we're in compliance. But as such, it won't hurt the general fund as far as what we've currently balanced.
So I will state for the record, so in 2017, when the current president first became president, he sent out an email to all 83 counties to have a meeting at the White House and Eisenhower Building, an invitation basically to come to the White House. And at that time, we had Cam Habermill was the chairman, Tammy, and I asked both of them, first of all, I didn't think that this was real, because who gets a invitation from the White House at the county level? And I was told that, this isn't anything we normally do. And I literally asked if the county paid for my hotel and give me some gas money, one night hotel and gas money, I would cover the rest of it, which I did. And I just thought it was an excellent opportunity. So I did say that I would go this time. There's supposed to be an email because they invited, there's 83 counties. And I'm not sure who else is going. But there potentially could be an invitation to go beyond. Oh, just so everyone knows, and again, the reason I got the email was it went out to chairperson. That's why I got the invitation. So there could be an opportunity for someone else if there's enough room to go. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anyone has any questions, I can check, because I did actually coincidentally, when we had Steve Curry here, 2 weeks ago? That Friday, I got the email, and then that Monday, he sent an email to blind carbon copy to everybody. I don't know who that is, but I was one of them. Said the email was legitimate for the request. So I've been working with him to double check, because you didn't get any kind of notification to say your information has been accepted. So I am on the list, which is good, but I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll have a special report when I come back, and we're going to do a slideshow presentation that Kim is going to run.
With souvenirs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesse, make sure there's no side trips to Boston, okay?
Okay, so that's all I got. We'll open it up again for the final public comment. Anybody has any public comment? Anybody? Steve? No? Tim, anybody online? Okay, we'll close public comment. And then I'd look for a motion, unless there's anything else, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner LaHaye. Or support by Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Adjourn.